Hello, welcome back, designers. In this video, we're going to take our pattern making a little bit further and show practical applications of how to use them as adjustment layers and shape fills. So let's get started. For this first part, I'm going to pop back to some patterns we made in previous videos. So here is a dot, an animal inspired pattern. I've come up to define pattern. We will call it dot and animal print and say okay. Then when we come over to check out our patterns, we can see that it is right here. We can come back to our pattern preview, which is under view, about halfway down pattern preview. And as we zoom out, we can see that this pattern repeats beautifully, just on and on, would make a great background. I'm going to come out of pattern preview because I don't need to move anything around and just turn this off. Next, I made a quick shape using our shape tool that is found underneath your rectangular or ellipse tool. And right up here, we can define all sorts of shapes. It looks like maybe I use this one. So I'm going to hold shift and just draw out another big shape. Now this one is fill in black, so I'm going to switch it so that it's fill in white and has no stroke. Okay, and we'll come over here to our layers so that we can see it and click out and be able to kind of move it around like so. Perfect. You can turn that guy off now and come back up to our layer, grab an adjustment layer of pattern, pick our dot animal and create a clipping mask to our image. Pretty sweet. Let's look at another example. Here's another shape. I'm going to do this a different way. Same effect. Go to layer, new adjustment layer here, and we are going to go new fill layer. We're going to go to pattern. Say okay. Pop down to our, maybe we'll fill this with that pretty blue seamless. Now we can hold Option on the Mac and click to make our clipping mask. Really great thing here is that we are still able to move our pattern around in the background, and we can come back here to this pattern fill at any time and change the scale. So I'm going to take that down about halfway. Looks super cool, or we can bring it up a whole bunch. Another great, I kind of like it about 45. Another great feature here is it's still an adjustment layer. So we can reset our colors here, grab a brush and paint out any section. Probably make my brush a little bigger, right? Paint out any section that we don't want painted in. And if I make a mistake, just hit X, flip it, and we can fill it right back in. This is such a versatile tool. I've made a bunch of other patterns here too, but let's look at another practical application. So for here, I'm going to make a quick ad about a really sweet sister shoot that I did. I'm going to pop a couple of pictures in here. And then we can really play around with whatever kind of background fill we want. So for this, we can make a new layer, come here and add a adjustment layer of a pattern. Let's use one of these easy leaves. And we're going to have to scale this down quite a bit. Let's drag our pictures above it, and you guys can see that I put a stroke around each of them, and if we double click on the effect, you can see that the stroke is a 24-point white stroke. Pretty cool other feature is I went in once I made the stroke that I wanted around one of the girls and hit copy layer style right there, and then went to the next image and hit paste layer style. That way I know that the effects would be exactly the same. Now we're going to have to move this around a little bit so that we get kind of nice repeating edges and corners, but that's super fun. And even if we wanted to scale it down just a little bit more, I'm gonna have to type it in, maybe 25, and then move around. I think the leaves might be too much. Would we have it at about 34 before? That actually looks pretty, maybe bigger. There we go. I'm sorry, that was 56. So about half of the original pattern that we made, and we can always just keep moving these around until the background fills the shapes we like. Now, what if we want to add a different pattern? So for this one, I'm going to do the blue seamless. I've brought it in again, just as a layer. So we don't want to do it that way. We want an adjustment layer of the blue seamless, like so. That way we are always going to be able to scale and move our images around. I think we need a white box around there. Well, this little ad is ready to go out. Hopefully this helps you understand how to use these background fills of patterns in practical applications. I think I have one more example where we can use these fills in kind of artistic endeavors. So here's a little abstract house. We can come right back here to our fill layer, hit W, and make a selection of the shape. It does not have to be perfect. We're just going to fill this with a pattern. You can see I've made a few selections and fills before on this, but again, the nice thing about doing this as an adjustment layer is that we'll be able to change the scale of the pattern at any time. This is pretty sweet. So we've got our selection of this little leaf. I'm going to do an adjustment layer of a pattern. We can pick any of the ones we've just made. You can fill it with that. Play with the scale of the dots. Say OK. And this will continue to be completely editable, not lossy or damaging to the actual image. And at any point we can come in, change our scale however we want, and say, okay, also we can move it around. So I grab my move tool. We can move these patterns around in the background any way that we want. And remember, we still have our, these are still layer masks. So let's say we wanted to come in here with a brush and take out this center portion, make it kind of a flower of some sort, or we want to take out a whole bunch and just have the pattern on the edges of the leaves, like so. We can, it's all on a layer mask. Hit X, brush up our size, and bring it back in. Pretty sweet. Hopefully this helps you find practical applications for fun background fills and recognize that keeping your patterns in adjustment layers will let you adjust the scale at any point. Thanks, guys.